Hey, how you doing? I am Greg Russell, and in this video, we're going to talk about the tech behind making money online that stops a lot of people from succeeding. So when it comes to making money online, there is tech behind the scenes, and this tech can stress people out and cause people to fail or not succeed at the fastest rate or level they could because they don't understand the tech. And today, we are going to show you exactly how to manage that tech. So listen, if you're trying to make money online and you don't want to get stopped or held up or stressed out because of the tech. A lot of people try to hire someone or stuff. There are just a few key things that you need to know how to control, or even what's going on if someone else is controlling, that can make night or day difference for you. And what we're going to be talking about is what affects email marketing. And there's two things that affect email marketing, which ultimately affect the money that you can make with your email marketing. And that is links and email. And inside of every link and inside of every email, there's one thing that is in common with both that will allow you to have a lot less stress and make a lot more money if you understand the tech behind this one thing. And that one thing is the domain name. And so that's what we're going to cover today. We're going to break it down in a way that you can understand and so that you can use with any service moving forward, and that you will have 100% confidence in understanding the tech behind a domain name so that you can control your links and your emails in any marketing system that you choose. That's what we're going to cover today. Let's go. All right. So a domain name consists of DNS, which is the domain name system, right? Which is the name servers which control the records. So this is all the three pieces that behind the scenes work for this domain to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go back to school. Don't worry, is going to be easy to grasp. You don't need to memorize any of this. You just needs to make sense to you. If it makes sense to you, then a little bit later on, I will tell you which parts you need to memorize so that you can be effective when it comes to your settings so that you can make money online. Okay. So let's just see if this part makes sense to you. Let's jump back to school right quick. All right. So when you go back to school, you go back and you sometimes when you start at the very beginning of the year, you kind of go back over the basics and cover some of the stuff you went through last year. This is the same thing. So we're going to start from the very beginning. Like, what's a domain name? Yeah, we're starting there. Don't worry. It's only going to take a second. So we're going to cover this right quick. Domain name is the address you type into a browser to visit a website. It's like an address of a house before a website. Okay. Example would be www.google.com. Now, this relatable concept, think of a domain name as a sign in a storefront that tells you where to go. Okay, boom. Now, we're going to move on to step two. This is the important stuff. This is how a domain name works in a link, right? So remember, the thing that can hold up most people from getting that money online is their not understanding of the tech behind what's going on. So step two is important. So check this out. The structure of a link. A website link, also called a URL, Uniform Resource Locator. That's what URL stands for. You don't have to memorize that. Matter of fact, the only time you would memorize that is if you're going on a game show and they're going to ask you a bunch of questions, and that could be one of them, and it could help you win a lot of money. But for 99.9% of people who are not going to game shows, you don't need to remember that. All right. But that's what it is. So let's break this down. The protocol, HTTPS://. This is important because it tells the browser how to connect. That's why it's there. Okay. The domain itself, the example we're using in this training is example.com. And this is the address of the website. And then the path /contact. This can be a specific location or page of the site. So the full example, HTTPS:// example.com/contact would typically take you to the contact page of that website. Most people get this. Okay. Behind the scenes, your browser uses your domain name to find the IP address, the real location of the website on the internet. Think of domain name as a phone number in your contacts list, and it contacts you to the right person, in this case, the website. So it does that right away. So this is what's going on behind the scenes. All right. So thank you for jumping back to school with us and looking at textbook style stuff. Now we're going to talk about a practical application, what this really, really works and looks like in the real world. So again, using example.com as our example in this training, we have here what this breaks down to. www is the subdomain. This is probably the most popular subdomain in the world. It stands for World Wide Web, and nobody really needs to know that it's the World Wide Web because we're not you. It's no longer needed. You don't have to use it. It basically just redirects to the root domain anyway. So it's really not needed. But knowing that it's a subdomain is important because it allows you to understand how subdomains can work in the real world with real examples, which we will show you in just a second. But the subdomain could be anything. The subdomain could be go.example.com. The subdomain could be login.example.com. And the subdomain could be, app.example.com. And each subdomain could redirect to a different place on the internet if you know that's how subdomains work. So it's important to understand that. So example is the what's called the second level domain, and the top level domain is .com, which is the most popular top level domain there is. It could be .org, .net, .tv, etc. Right? So typically when you buy a domain name, you will typically get the .com, which stands for commercial, which lets you know you're going to use it for commercial use. And .gov is typically a government website. So there's .gov, etc. So these kind of let you know what type of website they are. Again, the most popular and the one you should be considering is the .com. So if you're going to get a domain, if you don't already have one, try to get the .com with as simple as possible. With that being said, let's look at how this works in the real world. And we will just jump over to it and close it back up like this. All right, so this is how it works in the real world. When you pull up a website on your browser, right? So when you put up example.com, it's going to go to a DNS server, okay? A domain name system server, which is basically a phone book. Think of it as a phone book. It's going to find the IP address, bring it back to your browser, and your browser is going to say what's on this IP address, and then it shows you what's there. This all happens in less than a second anytime you put in a domain address. So that is how this works in the real world. Now, this is important because you need to know how to control the settings for your DNS, which will allow you to be able to use all sorts of systems on the internet to make money. This understanding is critical for you to make money on the internet. So now that we understand the structure of a domain name, how does email addresses work? That's a great question, and that's what we're going to cover right now. So, an email address has three main parts, right? And an email address has the domain in it, but it also has the @ sign, and that's how you know it's an email address. So let's break down the structure and what it looks like. An email address has three main parts: the username, right? Is the person or account. This is actually the name, and it goes in front of the @ sign. And so then we have the @ sign. This is the symbol that separates the username from the domain name and also lets the systems and records know that this is an email and not a place to take someone. Okay. So here we have the domain name, again, example.com. This just shows where the email hosted. And here's the full example of how this breaks down: John at example.com. Okay. And so think of the email address as like sending a letter, where the username is the person receiving letter, the domain name is the building or company they work at, and the @ symbol connects the two, just like writing CO for or in care of. Okay. So that is how email addresses break down. The @ sign is real important. So I'm going to let you know a couple real world things. Okay. Uh, a domain name, example.com, is always lowercase. There are never capitals in a domain name. So anytime you write a domain name, it's always lowercase, right? And an email address is all lowercase all the time. There is never a capital in an email address, right? So just make sure you remember that. Sometimes when we write it, we want people to see the words in it so we can write it capital. But behind the scenes, the servers and email systems always make everything lowercase, so there's never a capital in an email address. Just wanted to bring that out to let you know real world how that works. All right, so now that we kind of understand the basic understanding of domain names, what do you really need to know? This is what you need to know. This is important. You need to be able to control your DNS records. Okay, so that's important. Controlling your DNS records allows you to point your domain name to the website that you want, basically your website, your server. Okay. You can do that with your domain registrar or Cloudflare. Now, when you first buy a domain, your domain registrar points it to their stuff and then you can change it and use theirs. However, most important, Cloudflare will make your life 10 times easier. And we're going to show you that. So, the important thing to remember is you got to be able to control your DNS, and you can make your life easier and less stressful if you use a service called Cloudflare. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Okay. So to do that, to use Cloudflare, you need to change your name servers. Okay. So We need one more lesson. What the heck is a name server? I'm going to show you about right now. Hey, to understand DNS, you have to understand name servers and how they work. And I'm going to get some help here. I'm going to ask Ken to break it down for me. Ken, take it away.
Name servers translate an IP address to an easily remembered domain name. Google.com is easier to remember than its IP address, 74.125.224.147. But did you know that name servers control all DNS records? My name is Ken, and welcome to another DNS series. Join me as I discuss name servers. In our example, I bought a domain from mywebhost.com. Once I purchase the domain, there's a setting on the dashboard where I can see my default name servers. In this case, my name servers are ns1.mywebhost.com and ns2.mywebhost.com. Having two name servers is accepted as a standard backup requirement in the event one of the name servers goes offline. The name servers tell the computer that when I go to example.com, I need to go to this server to look up where my DNS records are. Once I point my domain to these name servers, I need to set my DNS record entries with mywebhost.com. Now, if I change my domain name servers with other hosting provider, my current DNS record with mywebhost will no longer work. So I need to go to my new provider and set my DNS record entries there. Bear in mind that name servers do not always have to be pointed to where you purchased your domain. You can always point it to any hosting provider, but you need to be careful in changing your name servers because your DNS records can get lost. If you are uncertain about your name server and DNS records, use the commonly available Whois lookup tools available online to find that info.
All right. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate that. So listen, domain name system. If we look here, we see DNS, right? DNS has to be controlled with the name server. So I'm going to give you a visual from the video. So the name servers are NS1, mywebhost, NS2. These are example name servers. When you buy your domain name from a domain registrar like GoDaddy or Namecheap or Enum or any of the many any of the domain registrars out there, they give you a name server. Okay. And so those name servers control your records, right? And so you have an A record, a CNAME record, an MX record, an SPF record, right? Just know you have records that helps you control certain things. Again, you don't have to remember what they are, but it's important that you understand how they work. So let's talk about how they work. Check this out. A record should go to an IP address. So this is basically like when we talked about in this first thing right here, this IP address, that's what an A record will point to. Boom. A CNAME is a subdomain. Okay. So remember when we talked about www and it could be Go, it could be something else. That is a CNAME records. And MX record stands for mail exchange, which when you have the @ sign that says, hey, take this information and point it to the mail server so they can handle email. Okay. So let's look at a real world example of CNAME. So if you go to Google Maps, maps.google.com will take you to the Google Maps. Again, subdomain is maps.google. Calendar.google will bring you up your Google Calendar. Drive.google will bring you to your Google Drive, right? These are examples of subdomains that are all part of Google, but they take you to different parts of Google. In your domain, you can use CNAME records and subdomains to send to create different parts of your website that even may not be on your website. There are a lot of services that allow you now to update your CNAME record so you can add a lot of different aspects and facets to your domain name if you know how to control and update your CNAME records. That's why this is important, okay? And so MX records are tell email servers where to route replies or emails. And the two most popular for business is Google Workspace and Office 365. Now, you don't have to have one of these, but if you are going to be serious about business, I would recommend considering Google Workspace because they have video, YouTube, and the calendar and all the other things. And it's typically more favorable and user-friendly for entrepreneurs. However, if Office 365 is the other alternate choice, which is the other top one, but you don't even have to use those. There's others. You can get other email services app. However, whichever email service you use, you'll use the MX records to point the email to that server for it to be handled there. So that is how name servers play into this and how records point different aspects of your emails and links to different servers and places. All right, so to control our DNS, we're going to use a service called Cloudflare, and it is highly recommended by myself and many others who use it. And I'm going to tell you the couple reasons why I recommend it. Number one, you can use it for free. There's no cost to use it. Number two, it will protect, it will give you a layer of protection for your sites and the things you are running through it. But most importantly for me, number three is that the speed. So when you make a change to your DNS or you update a record, typically a registrar will have you wait anywhere from 15, 20 minutes to 48 hours before they can say if that change went through. This takes way too long in dealing with support and trying to figure out if it works or not. When you make a change, you just need to know, did it work? Is it working? And Cloudflare is the fastest network in the world, and it will give you those changes in a matter of a couple minutes and typically in a few seconds. So with that, I want you guys to listen directly from Cloudflare themselves.
Imagine what you could accomplish if everything online was secure, fast, and reliable. You could operate without fear of attack. Employees could work from anywhere securely and efficiently while always keeping sensitive data private. Your business would have a critical edge. Cloudflare makes this happen. Our global network protects and accelerates anything connected to the internet. It makes websites, APIs, corporate networks, and distributed workforces safer and faster no matter where they are. That's because Cloudflare is the world's most connected cloud network, spanning hundreds of cities around the world, sitting within milliseconds of customers and employees everywhere. Every location in the Cloudflare network blocks attacks, accelerates traffic, and also deploys serverless code. There are no trade-offs between security and speed, so your business can be safer and faster. Just a few clicks gives your website and network all of these benefits globally. Want to give your business an edge? Discover Cloudflare. We're helping build a better internet.
All right, so this is exactly what we're going to use Cloudflare for. I'm going to give you a visual demonstration, and then we'll walk you through the processes on with a specific example of how to update your Cloudflare account. So what you're going to do is you have a web host, a place where you've purchased a domain name. So let's just, instead of assuming it says web host, let's just pretend this just says GoDaddy and you have a domain at GoDaddy. Okay. So the way it works is right now is your domain is set up and it has the name servers from GoDaddy, and then they have their record set up there. And what we're going to do is we're going to establish a new name servers, right? So we're going to add our domain name to Cloudflare. And here's where that's really important. Cloudflare is going to copy your existing records, okay? So it's going to copy what's there so you don't have to recreate or add anything. It will copy the records. And then you will get a set of new name servers, okay? So we're going to move down here, right? So this is you're going to get new name servers from Cloudflare. Once you get those name servers, then you are going to go ahead and cut ties with your web host by telling them use these name servers instead of the existing name servers, okay? And then now you will be able to use Cloudflare to control your DNS instead of your registrar. And so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to walk you through it. Okay, so, but before we do that, let's jump back into the document so you can see exactly the steps on what you need to do next. All right, so this is exactly what we're going to do. Okay, this is what you need to do. You need to add your domain to Cloudflare and allow it to copy the existing records. Then you need to update your name servers in your domain registrar with the name servers you get from Cloudflare. And then you need to add any records or CNAME records for emails or any of the services you use. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through a live example. In this case, we're going to show you how to use your domain with an email autoresponder service called GetResponse. And we're going to show you A through Z, how to set it up and how to use that. And we're going to dive into that right now. All right, starting from the very top, we're going to go to cloudflare.com. And if you don't have an account, you're going to hit the sign up button and you're going to go sign up for basically create you an account. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to sign up for the free plan. Unless you want some of these extra features, you can see what they're down here. Most most of the people that we walk through this process, they at least start off on a free plan. You can always upgrade to a paid plan in the future if you need to. And from your one account, you can add multiple domains. So you can use this for multiple domains. So you're going to hit add website, and then this is going to start this process for you of creating your account. Now, I already have an account, so it just logged me in. It's going to take you through a sign up process of creating your account. Okay. So once you get brought to your inside of your account, you'll be brought to like your dashboard. You won't see any websites here, and you're going to hit add a domain. And this is where you're going to enter a domain. I'm just going to put something text any jargon here for now, right? And you're going to hit continue. And what it's going to do is it's going to look to see if that domain has records, and it's going to then start to copy those records. Okay. And then it will give you a screen of those records. It will take a couple minutes for it to go find and copy and pull all the records. And nothing changes when you're doing this process. Nothing's going to change. The website is still be there. It's just going to copy your DNS records. Right. So I'm going to go back and show you one of mine. Boom, right? So we have one here, and we're going to go click on it. And then once it's in, it will give you data about the traffic going through the website, right? Which is cool, but it's not really important. And you don't need the analytics for what we're trying to do. We're just trying to show you how to control your DNS. So on the left-hand side, the most important tab is this DNS tab right here. And this is where you can get to your domain name system. And when you get into that system, you will see all the records here, and you can control all the records. And from here is where we will show you how to get the records you need from other systems to add them to your domain. All right, so now that we've added our domain to Cloudflare, we need to make sure the next step is to update our domain registrar with the new name servers. So from that DNS tab, from your domain, at the very bottom, it will give you the name servers, right? And it will give you two, just like the video suggested that you have one for fail. If one fails, you have the backup, right? So we'll give you the two name servers that you're going to go replace inside of your registrar. So I'm going to go show you this inside of a registrar called Namecheap. This can be GoDaddy. This can be any registrar. The process is the steps are the same. It's just where the DNS might be different in your account. So we're going to go sign in to my account, and then we are going to go to our domain. And in Namecheap, we're going to look for the manage button. This will bring us to the place where we can update those name servers. So I'm going to hit the manage button, and here is my settings. And then here is the custom DNS. Okay. So I am going to show you what it's going to look like if I haven't had this set up. So I'm going to say boom, boom, boom. All right, so this is now basically the basic name servers. These are the ones when you first purchase a domain. With Namecheap, it's going to say basic. If you do with GoDaddy's, theirs is going to have their default name servers. Okay, and so what you're going to do is you're going to want to change the ones that are the default ones to the ones that are the ones that Cloudflare gives you. So I'm going to copy this here. I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to go to my registrar, and now I'm going to change it from the basic or whichever ones to custom name servers. Even in GoDaddy, it says custom. You want the custom name servers, meaning you don't want to use theirs. You want to use your own. And so we're going to go to custom, and we're going to paste in that Nina one from Cloudflare, and we're going to change this to the Seth one. Right. And then inside of Namecheap, you hit the little check. This is the save. Inside of GoDaddy, there's a save. And in any other domain registrar, it's the same. You're going to change to custom name servers. You're going to change to the custom name servers that Cloudflare gives you on that DNS page, and you're going to hit save, and it will update those name servers. And what that will allow you to do, this is when changes are being made. Once you update the name servers, this is when it is now using, or in a few minutes, we'll be using the DNS settings and inside of Cloudflare instead of your domain registrar. And so that is how you update the name servers inside your registrar. And in this example, we used Cloudflare. All right, so in this step, we're going to walk you through how to update your DNS settings in a autoresponder service called GetResponse. Now, you can do this for any other autoresponder system that or service where you need to update DNS for your CNAME records or for your email. Once you have control of your DNS inside of Cloudflare, you can use it to update anytime you want. Okay, so let's go ahead and log into GetResponse. You can get a free account for 30 days and try it out if this is an autoresponder service you want to use. But again, the purpose of this training is to show you how to update DNS records. So in this particular case, in this particular autoresponder, if we click over here to the accounts, we can go to email and domains. Okay. And this is important, and I want to show you why. If you want to send an email and have this system or any other system be able to send emails and get them to the inbox, you need to add your own domain and give them the records. So when the internet service providers look to see, does that system have permission to send this email? The answer is yes, because you've updated those records inside of the DNS settings inside of Cloudflare. Okay. So in this particular section here, we can add an email address, or we can add a web, or we can add a domain if we want to use GetResponse for our landing pages. Okay, so I'm going to show you where you can add DNS information if you wanted to do that. We're not going through that full step in this particular lesson, but I just want to show you where it was and show you what you need to do if you wanted to do it. So if you hit add domain, you basically hit it, you're going to give a domain name here, and then it's going to give you what to put in the DNS records, right? And says, be sure to update your DNS settings to point to the domain and GetResponse. And it says it could take up to 24 hours. But if you're using Cloudflare on their side, it will happen much faster, and it will just depend on how fast GetResponse updates their system. Okay, so we're not doing that, but that's where you would go if you wanted to do that. In this particular case, we're going to assume you already have a website or landing page, something on your domain, and you just want to use GetResponse to be able to send emails. Okay, so we're going to use this tab right here, and just so you guys know, it's under the your profile tab and email and domains, and then your email addresses. And you can read here, it tells you how to set up an email address, and it tells you're going to have to authenticate with DKIM, which is just another type of record to protect domains from spoofing and all this stuff. Okay, it says if you already have a custom domain, click add email, right? So you're going to go click here, and you're going to add your name, and you're going to add your email. Okay, and so you're going to add that there. I already have one, and you're going to put it here. This is the name and the email that you want to show up on the from part of the email when someone receives it. Okay, so we're going to do that. And so I'm going to show you here. I used greg@getlistladder.com, and it is confirmed. All right, so I first just added it, and then I had to confirm it. I'm going to, show you what I needed to do to confirm it. Don't want to change the name. Oh, it's this. I'm clicking on the wrong one. Boom. Okay. So view the TXT record. So here are the records. These are the things we talked about earlier about what you need to do to be able to get this set up. So it's going to give us a DKIM record. It's going to give us a DMARC record, and it's going to give us a SPF record. These are all text records. I think it tells us over here, does it? Yeah, text records. These are all text records. So I'm going to show you how to add a text record, because inside of GetResponse, this is what you need to do. So it's going to give you these. You're going to click on this, and it's going to give you this right here, and you're going to copy it. Okay. And these are the instructions. They give you instructions right here. In a separate window, a tab, log into your domain account and find your DNS settings. We're going to be using Cloudflare for this. Create a text record, and then paste the DKIM identifier. This is basically the name into the host name field, and then paste the DKIM key into the text value field. Okay. So once you see what these looks like, you'll be able to do this all the time for any time you need to add records. So I'm going to copy this first one, kick it over here. Again, I already have this set up, but I want to show you how this works. We're going to go over to Cloudflare for the domain we have. We're going to go into the DNS, and we're going to hit add record. Boom. And so here we need to add the type of record. This is a text record or TXT record. Boom, click that there. We're going to paste in what we just copied. That's not it. Go back over here, and let's just copy it manually because the copy button didn't work, and we're going to paste it here. Boom, right? There we go. So you check it. This should say 5913 dot underscore DM key 5913 dot, right? So that's what we got there. And then we copy all this stuff, and I'm not going to copy all of it because I don't want no one copying my key. But you can then paste it here, like, and it'll be it's a lot more than this, but I'm just showing. And then you hit save, boom. Okay. So I have that record here. Right. This is it. And if I look at it, boom, right. So there's all the record. You see how long it is, what it cuts off some of the stuff, which is good. So you can't see it, but that is how that works. And you just set this to auto. You don't need to set it to anything else. This is called time to live. And if you leave it to auto, it will happen as quickly as possible. Okay. So that is one record you have set up, and you save that record. So again, you go to add record. These are TXT records. If it's CNAME or any other record, just choose it from the list. We're going to scroll down here and go to text record. We're going to add that name here. Boom. We're going to then go back to this one and copy the key, and we're going to paste it in there. Right. I'm just do this here. And then you're going to hit save, and it's going to save that record, and you'll be able to see it in your list of DNS records. So I'm just going to click over here. And now you could see that this record is here. And basically what you would need to do is you need to add all the records that it's telling you to do. So you'd have a text record, which is your DMARC, add that there. Text message, which is your SPF, add that there. And you'd add all three of those records. And then in a few minutes, it will authenticate, and you will get the green thing here so that you can add your own email sending preferences, and you'll be able to use that email to send from get response. And that is how you're able to update DNS records inside of Cloudflare for any service you need. Anytime they tell you to add a record, you can come here and add a record. If it's a CNAME record, which is a subdomain, and you need to send something to a different service, you could do that by adding a CNAME record. You'd come here and this is alphabetical order. You say CNAME, they would give you something, and then they would give you a place to send it to. And you basically save that. Most of the time with CNAME records, you turn this off. But again, if it works with it on, you can test it. If it don't work, you just turn it off. Everything updates in a matter of seconds or minutes, and you can test it out. So again, this is how you update these DNS records, how you can control your records for DNS. These are the only things you need to do inside of here so that you can control your DNS. You don't have to worry about anything else in Cloudflare, and there's a whole lot of things, and there's a whole lot of technical stuff, and this is a technical application. But if you just focus on just the things you need, the DNS records, and updating just what it tells you inside of these systems, they will give you exactly what to do. You can update it. And knowing how to do this, or being aware of what's going on, is crucially important for being able to understand how to make money online, because 90% of these systems give you access to CNAMEs and email records so that you can get your emails to the inboxes, and your links can work, and you can have things on your own domain. So you are using your own branding. And with that, my friends, have a great day and update your DNS with success. Take care.